So good to see you guys. Welcome. If it's your first time here, massive welcome. If you are returning, thank you for returning. It's been a while, but you know what? It's the first day of the month. We have a new monthly candle close, which is the highest monthly candle close we've ever had. So I thought, what better time than now to come on and talk about all things crypto. We had a pretty massive week last week with Metaverse and the announcement of Facebook rebranding to Meta, which, you know, brought a lot of attention to the crypto space and people investing in Metaverse tokens. So I thought today would be a good day to go over some of those and, you know, let's talk about whether it's too late to get in or what other opportunities might be available. So as you're coming on, give me a hello, leave me some comments, let me know that you're here and you can hear me okay. And if you have a sec, don't forget to smash up the like button and hit subscribe if you're not already subscribed, so that you can be notified every time I go live, which I will try to do more often than I do. I know it's been a while, but you know what? I'm going to be completely honest about it. I live in the world's most locked down city, and that's been hard. And I know, like, we're all dealing with it around the whole world, but it's been a long time, and sometimes it just really messes with your mind. So we're at the hopeful other end of that now, so getting in better spirits, and hopefully that means that I'll be on here a lot more often. So thank you so much for all of your beautiful comments about that, and yeah, I am definitely getting back on track now. So before we get into Metaverse, I just want to take a bit of a look at Bitcoin, because it is a historical moment today, having the, you know, highest ever monthly candle close. So let's talk about what that means, and you know, just some things I'm a little bit skeptical about before we move on to Metaverse. Now, what I want to actually show you in Metaverse is how to make the decisions yourself, and I do have some coins that I will go through and some recommendations, but I think the more important thing is that you learn how to find these things yourself, so that, you know, you're not always relying on somebody else to shill a coin for you. So let's get into it. Now, so let's have a look at Bitcoin first. This is the monthly chart. As I said, closed with the highest candle close on the monthly ever, which is so fantastic for Bitcoin. Taking a look at the weekly, here we go. It just missed being the highest weekly as well, but that's kind of okay. Now let's have a look at where we are now and what might be going on. Just turn some of these on. Okay, so looking at the daily, RSI is very healthy at the moment, which I kind of like. We've got this bit of a trend going on. Now I have seen a lot around, you know, social media and trading, you know, communities and whatnot, people saying that we need to come back and retest this level here at around 52, 53,000. I don't know if we need to, like, it, you know, if we did, it wouldn't be a worry. So basically what they're saying is come back to retest this previous resistance. It may happen. I don't think it's a given that it will happen. So, you know, just keep your eyes and ears open both ways, I guess. Because we had this kind of a push up that curved and created this trend line, I think people are kind of expecting a repeat to come back and curve. It does make sense, but I wouldn't bank on it. There are some things that are worrying me about Bitcoin, which we will get to. But before we get there, just having a look at this kind of flag formation. So what had happened was we were creating this flag, broke out, retested it. It's kind of better to see the retest on the 4 hour. So this was the retest over the weekend, and now we've put in a really nice bullish engulfing. So there's a couple of things that worry me about charting it like this. And one of those is, what if that trend line is incorrect? For me personally, I don't take trades off trend lines. I prefer horizontal levels. And the reason for that is because if I simply move that up there, it would be a more correct trend line, simply because it's got more touches. 1, 2, 3 there. But then if you draw it from first point to second point, it's down here. So that's a reason I don't like taking trades off trend lines. It's a little bit too subjective and just dependent on where you like to draw it. But if we do have it there, then what we have here is a textbook flag breakout. We've created a higher low within the flag. This is the breakout, and this is the current retest on this current candle. So if that holds, that's going to be very bullish. Personally, I'm very skeptical of the market right now for one main reason, and that reason being the leverage in the market. So if we have a look over here, this shows us the all exchanges estimated leverage ratio. And if you have a look over around this area where Bitcoin kind of had that big dump around April of this year, you can see here that the leverage ratio at the time was 0.18. And then we had, if you remember, a couple just before the weekend, we had a little bit of a sell-off, which was over here. And that leverage was at 0.19, that ratio. Now, what bothers me about this was the 1.8, which was close to 1.9 up here, that caused quite a large sell-off. And they needed to do that because there was too much leverage in the market, and they needed to bring that leverage down. This one here, with a leverage ratio of around 1.9, only moved Bitcoin, let's measure that out. I think it was this sell-off around here. It only moved Bitcoin about 7%. So when you think about that leverage ratio and you see only a 7% move, does it make sense? Like that 7% did not flush out the leverage. And then it did dip it down a little bit. As you can see here, that purple line dipped down there. But it needs to be down at these levels, right? And right now, the leverage is back up at 1.89. So nearly 1.9. That really bothers me. And it's kind of making me think that this might be a little bit of a suckers rally or a stop hunt, or not stop hunt, but it's sort of trapping bulls. I have a feeling it's trapping bulls. So I'm very skeptical right now of where price is, and I would encourage you to exercise caution using leverage right now, simply because of that. Now, the other thing I want to look at in comparison is the all exchanges stable coin ratio. Now, why this matters is because when the ratio moves in an upwards direction, it means that stable coins are moving on to exchanges. Stable coins only move on to exchanges to buy things. So it could be that they're buying altcoins, which would be extremely bullish for the market. So that is one side we have to consider. But it could also be that it's reserves getting ready to buy Bitcoin after a dump. Now, when you have the leverage ratio that high, and in combination with the stablecoin reserves rising, that's when you draw the conclusion that it's moving to buy the dip. So as you can see here, we've literally got higher highs and higher lows in this kind of purple area here that's showing the stablecoin ratio rising. So this is just causing me to be a little bit skeptical right now. And if you're bullish on Bitcoin and you're spot trading and you're just buying and holding it for a long period of time, it doesn't matter if you believe that Bitcoin's going to be worth more than what it is worth today in the next, couple of months. It doesn't matter too much. But if you're leverage trading, this matters, and you should definitely know this stuff. So yeah, so just exercise caution if you are leverage trading. So for me, with Bitcoin right now I have been long for a very long time. This is my initial Bitcoin entry. So I've been long. This is a futures chart. It says 43, but it's been a while. So I don't really have anything to worry about. And I'm not looking to open a new position unless we get a really decent sell-off. But one other thing, if we take all of that out of consideration, into consideration, and we have a look at this big move and the current flag that is forming, and if let's draw fibs on that move, we have come back only to test around 38. Now, initially, this was looking like a bit of an Elliott wave, and this sell-off here was looking like an ABC correction. Where we are now is sort of just consolidating between two levels. So I think Bitcoin sort of needs to get above, let's have a look at that a little bit closer. Yeah, I'd say up here. I think Bitcoin needs to get above and hold above 63,500 region to feel like it's really bullish. It's heading in the right direction, but I don't think it's there just yet. So above 63,500, I'm going to feel bullish on Bitcoin. Below that, I'm still skeptical that we will have another sell-off. Now, if we do have that sell-off, my targets for that are initially going to be back at this demand zone here. And that's a fairly obvious zone to look out for, because when we did have that one massive sell-off there with that wick, that's exactly where we came into. So that kind of makes sense that we might come back there. And so that's about 58. Yeah, it's about 58,000. The next area, if the sell-off is quite massive and does take out a lot of leverage, I'm going to be looking at this area here, which is around 55,000. Now, worst case scenario, Bitcoin really can come back to test this region here as well and still be, well, hang on, let me just check that. Let me double check that. I'll probably stay up here actually. Could still come and test back this region and still be considered bullish. So that'd be, around 50K, which is a nice round number. And you'd expect that if Bitcoin did pull back that far, people will be buying at 50K. So these are three levels I'm looking out for, but I don't at this point really believe, believe's not the right word. At this point, I'm not saying that we need a sell-off. I'm saying I'm skeptical of the market because of that high leverage ratio. And so if the exchanges try to take that ratio down lower, these are the levels I'm going to watch. If they're happy to let it ride for a bit, then above 63,500 is where I'll be bullish again. I can't see that happening, unless it's a fake out. And so that's why I'm saying be careful, because they might try to let us go riding that leverage for as long as possible. Especially believing that Plan B has been very right for the last 3 months now on Bitcoin's price, and that the end of November price is at 98K, expecting a lot of people might buy in now, thinking that, well, now 98K is a guarantee because he was right the last 3 months. They might let that happen. They might let that belief happen, then take us all out. So I don't think it's that safe to trade leverage right now. But just be careful of that. Now, very quickly, I'm not going to spend as much time on it. I just want to quickly look at Ethereum, Solana, and Matic. Now, we're talking about Metaverse tokens, so you're probably thinking, Annie, why are you talking about them? But I'm talking about them because a lot of these tokens are built on one of those platforms. Now, the way that I organize my portfolio, and maybe in a future video I'll go into this in more depth, is that I'm always looking for a way to take advantage of what I think are going to be the biggest movers, but also protect myself by having safe bets. So when something can't be built unless it's built on something else, then that something else has a need, right? So that makes it a safer bet. So with all of these new things that are coming out, when you hear about new things coming out and you hear about what they're built on, and we're talking about metaverse gaming, play to earn, all that kind of stuff, they're mostly built on Ethereum, Solana, and upcoming Matic as well. More and more are being built on Matic as well. So if you do believe in gaming as what is potentially going to be the biggest sector of this bull run, which I do, then you want to be holding those layer ones, a bigger portion of those layer ones, for the safety aspect of it. So when we have a look at Ethereum right now, let's just have a quick look at the daily. So Ethereum's put in another all-time high, and it's currently just pulling back a little bit. It looks fairly healthy to me. You know, it has these nice kind of waves going throughout, so not too worried. However, if Bitcoin does do a big sell-off, it's going to cause Ethereum to do a big sell-off as well. So if that happens, this is definitely going to be the first area that I'm looking out for. And then let's see if we come back to test this area as a second option, just depending on how strong that sell-off is. So that's going to be around 4,000. Again, a round number makes sense where people would buy, or if we get a rather deep one, then we're looking at about 3,600-ish kind of range. Let me just draw a quick fib on that and see what that would bring us back to. So that would bring us back to between 38 and 50. Makes sense. That would be a very obvious area to buy. Solana, I'm really liking at the moment what it's forming. However, there's nothing to do right now. So Solana on a higher time frame, if we look at the daily, it's looking like it wants to create an ascending triangle. Bring this down to the candle closes where it is right now. So if Solana can, if Solana can hang out in here for a bit and continue to create these higher lows and push up against this resistance, then eventually that's going to squeeze and head right through. My top target for Solana is $600. I was telling the community to get in at $25. So we've already made massive bank on Solana, but I'm still thinking somewhere between 5 and 600. Is my target for Solana. So this is forming really well. And if that does continue to squeeze into that triangle, then I would expect the breakout, not immediately to get us to 600, but sometime throughout the bull market, would get us there. Now, the next one is Matic. So again, Matic is also, from way back in February, has respected this beautiful trend line the entire time. So it does have massive swings away from it and then comes back. But Matic is an absolute beast. And if you're not in on Matic, all I would simply be doing right now is, let's have a look at the 4 hour. These aren't really the ones that I want to talk about as far as entries or anything like that, but just to give you a quick idea, Matic really does look like it's had this beautiful push up. It's creating a flag right now. Again, if the whole market stays bullish, then this should continue on as well. Just looking at this area here, if it came back to retest this previous resistance, that's going to be between 38 and 50 fib. This is the support here, that's previous resistance. This is the level $1.74-ish level. That's the first area to watch. However, again, just be wary that if that leverage comes in and takes us all out, then we could pull back a lot more. I wouldn't even care how much any of those three things pulled back. It's a buy for me. So now that you know about those layer ones, I want to talk about the actual metaverse coins. And first thing I wanted to talk about is looking at coin Gecko. This is what I want you to get your head around. So in CoinGecko, you can sort your coins by category. So this is sorted by just metaverse coins. And what I want to focus on today is the top ones. And I want to show you a very important lesson today. So number one, if you're having a look at the most popular or the number one coin in this category, we're looking at Axie Infinity. Now, Axie Infinity has had a major run already, and it's something where, especially if you're new to this market, you hear about everyone getting in and everyone making bank, and the price just keeps going up and up and up, and all you want to do is get in on that thing. But this is the question you should ask yourself. The first thing you should do when you hear about something like that is come and have a look at something like this in CoinGecko, and where does it sit in that whole category of coins, right? So if you were looking at Axie, it's already number one. So the next question you have to ask yourself is, looking at its market cap, now its market cap is already 8 billion, you have to ask yourself, what are the chances of that doubling in the bull run? And the answer might be pretty good. It might be. However, you don't have a benchmark. You don't have anything to weight this against because it's already number one. So to be buying in at this point in time is nothing but a gamble. And instead, the smarter way to do it would to then start look at, well, who's its competitors? What's chasing its tail the most? So then you start looking at who's number 2, 3, 4, and 5, for example. And in an ideal world, you want to have a minimum 2x difference between number 2's market cap and number 1. So in this case, we can see that Decentraland, Mana, the market cap is 3.6 billion and Axie is 8.3 billion. So could Mana double and get close to Axie? It could, because it's currently half. So now you have a benchmark, right? So that makes better sense. And you would do that with, the next 4 or 5 that are after it. However, the other thing too then you have to ask yourself is, was a 2x in a bull market the best I can get? And the answer is no. There are potential 100x's in a bull market. Obviously, the more you chase those kind of gains, the higher the risk becomes, which is why you need to have a balanced portfolio that allows you to have some of those gamble coins, but it's balanced by some of the safer options. Again, probably going to need another video to get into that. But looking at this, now that you know that, looking at Decentraland, Mana, and knowing that there is at least a 2x, it's worth exploring this over trying to get into Axie. And ideally, if you can get things that are between a 5 to 10x, you definitely want to look into those. So the top 3 that we have are definite opportunities for, say, a 2 to about a 2 to 5x. So definitely worth looking into. Then you need to start going a little bit further down the list, and some of these ones in the middle are going to be good options as well. I have picked out a couple to talk about today, and so we'll have a quick look at that. Let's have a look at Mana first. Now, obviously had a very big pump yesterday and a very big sell-off. Now, what you have to understand is, in my opinion, is that yesterday's news, or the recent news of Facebook, coming into Metaverse, traders know that that news is worth trading, right? So when you have a very high parabolic pump like this, it's only traders that are doing this. And so now the reason we're having this sell-off is because the traders are taking profits. What needs to happen now is Mana now needs to find its new support, settle there for a little bit. And the reason I'm saying it has to settle is because it was too high and too much of a sell-off. It's too vertical both ways, and you don't want to be part of that. At some point, this is going to settle and it's going to sit at a level for a while, and this could be the level. We don't know where it is right now. Once it does that, it will slowly start to change market structure, and that's where the real long-term investors are coming in, and they will buy for a longer-term hold. So if you're feeling like you missed out on this pump, you don't really want to be part of it anyway, but this has given you an amazing opportunity to find a really good entry to hold on to for long-term. So all we really need to do is draw fibs on this. You can see currently it's trying to hang out at the 50 level. If possible, we look left to see if there's anything to line it up to, and on Mana there isn't, so we don't have that, unfortunately, which is why we need to wait for it to find a new support. So either this is going to be the support here that it's currently sitting around at about 2.61, or it's going to further break down to the 61.8, and I wouldn't be surprised if it did. So I wouldn't be rushing in for Mana. What I would be doing is setting an alert at that level, and if it does break down further, move that line down to the 61.8 at about 2.34 and reassess if price gets there. And again, just make sure it settles and stops like falling in one direction. So that's what we're going to watch for Mana. With ENJ, now ENJ also same thing. So with this one, we had a really nice trend starting, and then it just went crazy with all of the news. So let's just have a look at that actual level there. And we're currently already back at the 61.8. Now, looking at this here is the previous resistance. So I'm actually not going to use fibs for ENJ. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to mark out this whole area here, and this is what I call the battle zone. And the reason it's the battle zone is because it acted as resistance many times with candle closes, and then above it all we saw was wicks. And then same here, there was wicks until eventually it could get through that zone. Now what that tells me is that if price does come back down into here, the battle's going to go the other way, and there'll be buyers pushing it back out. So this is the area that I'm going to look at and wait and see if we can hold around here to get a really good price. That's going to be between 2.19 and 2.33. And yeah, if we get back into that zone, reassess then. Sand is the last one I want to go through, and sand, again, amazing things, but it doesn't mean you missed out, and it's certainly not, in my opinion, too late. So looking at sand again, you can see here we've settled at around 50 fib. Looking left, there's not really any previous resistance for me to match it up to. So this is the area that I'm going to be watching now. I can now see that there are wicks below there, so buyers are trying to push price up above here. So now this becomes my battle zone, and let's see if we can hold at that level. And so that's about 1.53. If we can hold there, then that'll be a buy for me, but I wouldn't actually be surprised if this, because you can see here we've already sort of pushed out, I wouldn't be surprised if this took a couple of weeks to create like a symmetrical triangle, or even a descending triangle that just had lower highs and this stayed as support. Then you wait for the change in market structure and then get in. So I don't think there's any rush on sand, but I do think that there is plenty of future potential in this one. And they're the main three that I wanted to go through that are probably in the safer bets. A lot of the other ones that would fall in the smaller cap, so looking down here, we've got like UFOs, an amazing one, YGG, Starling, Wilder World, Atlas. There's a lot here, RFox. There's a lot that you could chart and literally do the exact same thing, but they do fall into higher risk. Oops, wrong one. If we start moving into those areas. Now, was there anything? Oh, one other thing I wanted to talk about was Bitcoin dominance. Here comes my co-host, the cat. So Bitcoin dominance, have not actually looked at this particular chart for a really long time, but we definitely have dominance rejecting off this area. Look, it could be coming to create a higher low, and then money shifts back into Bitcoin to push it up to that 100K. So definitely watch out to see if you do get that higher low. That will just tell you, like, focus on Bitcoin, ride that first, and slowly average into any altcoins that you are interested in. Now, is there anything else that I wanted to talk about? Let me just look quickly. Oh, the other thing too is just a warning about Bitcoin is when I was talking about being skeptical in the leverage and whatnot, the other thing too is November 3rd is the FOMC meeting. And usually if that doesn't go too well, it can cause a sell-off in the market. And sometimes that can translate over to crypto as well. So for me, I'm exercising caution until the 3rd, 4th, 5th-ish of November on Bitcoin itself. But, you know, you guys have seen my entry on Bitcoin now. I don't have anything to worry about, but I would like to open a second leverage position. But I think that we are in for some wild weather for the first part of this week. So I'm just going to be a bit careful about that. Hey, there's the cat. Did you see her? You saw part of it. All right, so what time is it? 8:15. I've got a couple minutes left. If anybody wants me to have a look at anything, or we can do Q&A, feel free to post a comment. I'll just quickly have a look at them. This Richard Cozella, I can see POLC. So POLC, I think it will do well. What I don't like about it is it's not an entire ecosystem. Let's see if we can have a quick look at it. Does it come up here? Yeah, Polkacity. So it's not an entire thing, which doesn't make sense to me. Let's have a look at their website. And will it say it here? So it's, yeah, virtual taxis, gas stations and services. Like, why would you just be that? You know what I mean? Why would you not be more than that? So I don't know. It might do okay. It might be worth a bit of speculation, but I just think that there are better all-encompassing things out there than Polkacity. What else? Thoughts on BTC. I went through Wilder World. So Wilder World was one that I pointed out in the list. Let's just see where that can be charted. Wilder World. Wilder World. Probably going to be hard to find a chart. Let me see. Oh, here we go. KuCoin. Perfect. Oh, I think it's new. Okay, yeah. So Wilder World is fairly new. I would actually, this is what happens when coins get listed on somewhat major exchanges, is they either pump massively then sell off hugely, or they just sell off hugely. So in this case, it sold off hugely and then it had a massive pump. I think this will come back to retest its previous resistance, and that is a while away. It's like almost half price to what it is now, but I would be very patient with this, and I would definitely be eyeing off this level here for an entry on that one. Let me see, is there anything else? Can we look at Matic? I already looked at Matic. Anchor. Let's look at Anchor. It's starting to get dark outside now. I have to fight the sun on these lives, and so my lives have to get later and later because the sunset is setting later and later. Okay, so what I don't love about, I don't love being part of this, but if I was long term on this, then it wouldn't bother me. Let's just have a quick look at Anchor on here. And market cap 937. That's good. Blockchain from it's composed to. Okay, so this looks like something to do with businesses and stuff. I'm not sure if that can get big enough to be like the 10x gains that we potentially have left in the bull market. So I'm not too worried. I won't be asking questions yet. I'm still absorbing everything as a newcomer. Well, welcome, Rob. Definitely watch and absorb as much as possible. I used to watch traders and have absolutely no idea what they were saying, but I knew that one day it would be a language that I understand, and now is that day. So it's definitely worth sticking with. Vicky says, which exchange are you using for leverage? So I only use OKX at the moment, but honestly, I'm not trading leverage. Like, when you have a look at the amount of potential gains you can get just spot buying in this market, it's just not, you don't need to leverage trade. So yeah, I'm only leverage trading Bitcoin and Ethereum because I got nice juicy entries. I showed you Bitcoin. This was my Ethereum entry down here back in September. So I'm just sitting on these two right now, but I'm not really looking to leverage trade anything else, to be honest with you, unless I can open a second position on Bitcoin, Ethereum, but I'll only do that if we have a super huge sell-off. OMI, yes, massive. Like, OMI is one of the biggest things that I'm in at the moment. Have been dollar cost averaging in on OMI all year, so huge believer in it. But don't buy it just because I said that. Do your own research for sure on it. This is a good question. Do I own any NFTs? I do own some. Currently, they're all at a loss, but I'm hopeful. I kind of had to have a bit of a talk to myself. I'm going to be really honest with you about this. I know that there is a lot of money in NFTs, and I know that if you can do the research and you can get into the right circles and you can figure all that out, you can make life-changing money. Here's what I realized this week. I know what my skill is. My skill is trading, and it's not about where I could make life-changing money. It's about where can I use my skill to make life-changing money. NFTs are a huge opportunity, but I missed the boat. I didn't understand them early enough. And now in November, what could be towards the end of a bull market, I don't want to be wasting my Ethereum learning how to get into NFTs. Right? I don't want to be learning right now. I want to be accelerating my profits. And I can only do that with knowledge that I already have. So for that reason, I'm dabbling, but I'm not full on into the NFT space. But I do wish that I took it seriously a lot earlier. Sadly, I didn't, but it doesn't matter to me because I know I have the skill to make that money in trading anyway. And I would encourage you to do the same. Just ask yourself where your skill is. Do you want to be learning in the middle of a parabolic bull market, or do you just want to be making the most of it? Because we don't get it for long. That's the other thing too, is we don't get it for long. This is the time you need to be laser focused on the things that could potentially set you up for a really long time. So, have I checked out Blocktopia? I only actually heard that name today. So let's have a quick look at that. So Blocktopia, token holders will be owned. We act as a central hub. For first time ever, users will have access to crypto information and immersive content. This sounds very interesting. Blocktopians will be able to earn revenue through real estate ownership, advertising revenue, play games, build networks, and much more by using the world's most advanced. I'm very interested in learning a little bit more about this. I won't make a recommendation on it right now because I haven't dived deep enough into it. Market cap is currently unknown, so a little bit more research needs to go on that. Let's have a look. Where is it available? KuCoin. Let's have a look at the chart quickly. This would be the last one I'll do, guys, and then I will leave you. So what was that? BLOK. Is it only new? Oh, it's only newly listed. So of course, this is doing what I said to you. It's newly listed on an exchange, doing a massive pump. We'll do a huge sell-off. That will be the time to get in. So we'll just wait on that one. But looking at this overview here, let's look at max time. Oh yeah, beautiful, beautiful, nice curve. So yeah, we'll see how much got left into it. Okay, last one for sure. Cardano I will do because I feel sorry for Cardano. Like, what is it doing? I do have it pre-charted, so we'll look at this one here. So Cardano, I did post this in our Discord not long ago. If you are not part of my Discord, make sure you get in there. The link is in the comments of this video. It's a free Discord. Come and join us. And the reason I say that is because I'll post things there sometimes when I just can't get on YouTube because it's a bull market and I am trading my ass off. So sometimes I just can't get on here. But this, to give you an example, was the 16th of last month when I posted this and I said, I've reassessed my portfolio. I'm going a bit heavier on gaming coins, and I put the entire portfolio that I was going to buy into for everybody to have a look at. And if you want that kind of information, you need to be in the Discord. But I will talk about that in more detail on future videos. But if you want to hear it first, get in the Discord. And the other thing before I talk about ADA is don't forget that I still have this crypto case competition going on. If you don't know about it, back in June when Bitcoin was at 29-30K, I put $100 into 10 different coins, and those have mooned. This in total, the total investment was $1,000. It's now somewhere at about 2,400. So there is massive gains to be made for winners there. All you need to do, again, is head to the link, follow the description of how to enter this. Subscribing is one of the things that you need to do. Definitely leave a comment if you enjoyed this video as well. But there will be 5 winners. Each winner gets 2 coins each, picked at random. And yeah, could be free money for you just for subscribing. So last thing before I go, let's look at ADA. This is what I had marked up from last week. It's still following the same. This is the buy zone that I'm eyeing off. And the reason I'm eyeing that off is because we have wicked into this zone one time already. Also, just looking at, you know, macro kind of view, it just makes sense that we had this big push, sell off, big push, sell off. So it's kind of creeping back into this area. And what Cardano does is it likes to do nothing for a long time and bore the life out of us, then just moon. Nothing for a long time, bore the life out of us, moon. So I am expecting a moon, but I don't know if it will happen anytime soon. So in an ideal world, I want to get an entry down here if we come, you know, sort of reject off this resistance and come back into this area. That's going to be an ideal buy zone as long as we wick back out of there and we don't close below that level. So lowest that is about 1.725-ish area. Failing that, if we don't come back down into this zone, then it's just a break of this wedge here. So something like if we pull out here instead and hold above this resistance level at 2.02, then it would be the same. So 2 potential entry points, but still conditions need to be met on both. All right, guys, I think I will have to leave it there for today. I've actually really enjoyed this, so I hope you got something out of it too. I'm glad to be back. I'm sorry that I'm flaky and sometimes I'm here and sometimes I'm not, but I'm going to make an extra effort now that we have some little freedom back in this country. It does help with my mindset, and I will see you guys next time. Make sure you stay safe out there and be careful of that leverage. Don't forget, like, subscribe, leave me a comment, let me know what else you'd like me to cover in the future. Bye, guys.